in 5D. Actually, no, I'm pretty sure it was your opening because I was apologetic about not going live, so I went last time. but yeah, true. I assumed, but in that moment, we really understood each other.
We were on the same
Yeah,
page.
yeah, because you gave me that look, and I was like, "Oh, he has no fucking clue what's going on."
Yeah.
Cool. Here we go.
And we didn't prepare for this.
All right. Oh,
And at
you.
that point,
I know. Woo. I have my bottle here of Senor Morgan. You
okay,
can kind of
you're just
sort of see it.
going at it tonight then. I've
No.
got my regular nightly. Actually, fun. I have a starting anecdote for us. We're getting
Ooh.
anecdotal.
Personal life stuff.
So I had a friend who was doing a virtual beer tasting event. It was kind of
Okay.
thing like, because people can't do live meetups, more they just send you a box of a couple of beers,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then you tune into like a webcast and you drink the beers while they talk about it, right?
I've definitely heard of
Well,
this.
my one of my favorite breweries, Fort George, was doing a talk on my favorite, my nightly beer. I don't want to call it my favorite. But like this is my go-to. Like your dad would go and open up a Miller every night or whatever. This is actually my go-to. Is I do a Cavatica every night.
Okay.
And my friend was telling me, "Oh, do you know why they call it Cavatica?" And I was like, "No, I don't even know what Cavatica is. No fucking clue." And she goes, "Well, there's webs all over the can, right? And for people who can't see, I'm showing the can right now. Product placement. If you guys want to send me like a 6 pack, I'm into it. There's a web all over it. And apparently it gets its name from Charlotte's Web.
Oh.
Apparently, Charlotte's last name is Cavatica because the specific, what is it, genus, sorry, I'm bad at this kind of stuff, the whatever the specific type of spider she
Oh, okay.
is this barn spider. And I again, I'm not good at this. I don't remember what the full name was, but it was like something something Cavatica, and that's the classification. So in the book, her last name is Cavatica to represent her as the barn spider that she is.
Wow, that's kind of fascinating.
Right, like that. It was one of those things. Like I definitely read Charlotte's Web. I have not read a shit ton of books. I'm not a big book guy. I'm a comic book guy, but I've definitely read Charlotte's Web, and that didn't even sound vaguely familiar. Like I feel like he went deep cuts without going deep cuts.
And it's Arrhenius cavaticus.
Okay, but yeah, like right. I what you just did, I did the same thing because I was like, at first, part of my brain was like, why would that not be true? But like, that's probably not true. So I went and I Googled it, and yeah, but that's the thing. It really is.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I too have a friendly anecdote. Um,
Do it. This is the anecdote episode.
one thing I found out today is the show Scrubs that you and I both love so much.
Do
Uh,
love it.
apparently, I think it's a good chunk past half of season one. The janitor just kind of pulled the Robin Williams, where they were just like, "Homie says something funny."
Oh, they just let him run with it.
Yeah, because so a lot of his
Nice.
really like because he says some really weird shit. Apparently, it's mostly improv. He was known for his improvisations, and he was funnier than the scriptwriters. Is the rumor? So
Huh.
they were just kind of like, yeah, he does something, which is why some of the reactions of the other actors are not only fantastic, they can keep their shit together, but you can see moments where they just kind of panic a little, but they go with it. I
Oh, I definitely got to watch for more breaks now.
Yeah, that so me and my wife are rewatching it right now, and I'm going through and going like, oh, I see what's going on. Like there was one moment where it's the first time you see the delivery guy like predominantly once he starts showing up, but he shows up with an
Yeah.
injured hand. Do you remember that scene?
Mm-hmm.
and JD, and obviously spoilers for a show that's been out for what 15 years now. Now this
Yeah, stop
it's a
it.
long time. But anyways, he comes in and JD's on break and he points it to somewhere else. But the guy behind him, it seems like wasn't expecting the guy to show up, so he just kind of like fumbles. Whoever the extra was, I think they surprised him. So I'm starting to catch little things like that.
What again? Anecdotal is the episode name, but we just started rewatching Psych.
Okay.
And it's just funny. You just mentioned a show that's like 15 years old. My wife just commented today. She was like, "Oh, it's so weird to see corded phones in a show again." but also not have it be like, the Brady Bunch or something
or
that's
Miami
really
Vice.
It's not something that's super old, but
No.
it's something that, or at least it's not old to us, right? To somebody
sure.
now, yeah, it's probably old for some folk, but for us, no, we saw that shit at Comic-Con, right? Like
Yeah.
like the show was still not the show that it became, but the show that it was. We saw that when it was new, and yeah, that's already super fucking old.
I think we were at the worldwide premiere of that show. Because
No. For sure, we were at least season 2. For sure.
No. You're right. It was Hawaii Five-0 where we were at the worldwide
Yes.
premiere for.
Yes.
I was getting those confused.
Oh, buddy, you just worked us into such a good segue, and you don't even know it yet.
Hi.
You're gonna want to go ahead and load up that Paramount Plus image.
Oh, I hate you.
Let's talk about Paramount Plus. So, I told you that there was a loose justification for getting this streaming service.
Like,
we'll go into what it is, but I want to justify it first.
Look, if it is in fact Footloose, I'm still out. All right, hold on.
No, what? No.
I need something to prepare for this.
Okay. He's just swinging off the bottle at this point. It's been a Monday, y'all. Let me tell you. It's been a Monday.
Yep.
So,
all right. Tell me all about it.
Again, I'm qualifying before I'm even getting into any of it. We just recently canceled both the DC Universe app because it is part of HBO Max now.
Okay.
So we canceled that. And we stopped. Finally, I'm told this makes me super old. I finally stopped getting discs from Netflix. We're canceling that service.
I still have those. Fuck off. There's some movies that you just don't get on streaming.
We don't go through them quick enough to justify the service anymore.
I have the one. I have just the one.
We're doing one, and I think it's fine as long as I don't care. But we're canceling the one disc a month.
Or you could just keep it. Where are these movies coming from? I don't know. Redbox.
She'll never know. Fucking Netflix.
Right?
Like I pay attention to mail. Come on, let's pretend like I'm me. Either way, so we're gonna get rid of that. So like there was like some streaming money that was previously allocated to streaming services was again available, and they offer 2 tiers, both a commercialed and a non-commercialed tier. So this ended up being cheaper than the package that I bought for the other services, even not combined. This was cheaper than DC was. DC was, I think, $80 a year. This only came out to be $50 a year with commercials. But I kind of justified that where I was like, I keep driving by theater, or before COVID, I've been driving by theaters and I have no idea what these movies that are out are. Like, unless it's something I'm already interested in, I don't get news on movies that I've never heard of because I don't have commercials in my life. So I was like, okay, we can stand to have like a service that has commercials just on the off chance that I can learn about movies again.
All right.
It's a very weird feeling, but I constantly you'll go to the movie and you'll see the posters and I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. To be fair, I feel like I'm a little bit more clued in because I'm always at least reading the entertainment section.
Yeah, and like you know me, I gate my news very heavily, so I'm truly only getting shit that I give a shit about.
Yeah, no, I get it. No worries.
And so the segue worked because one of my wife's selling points for the streaming service, she used to watch the reboot of Hawaii Five-O on Hulu. But since this has started becoming a thing, and we've noticed over the last probably year, stuff has been getting pulled off of Hulu as those contracts come up, and it's been moved over to what it was like CBS Now or
Yeah, fuck
something
those
like that.
guys.
But they're transformed whatever Star Trek was on, which I think was like
So it's
CBS.
been CBS for
But
forever now.
the name, I don't know if it was CBS Now, CBS Plus,
Oh,
CBS
whatever.
Schmucky
There's
McSchmucky.
yeah, whatever. They're schmucky
Yeah,
streaming up.
but that's going away, and it's going to all become Paramount Plus. I'll tell you, it has a lot of cool stuff coming up where I am disappointed that like the reason I got Netflix, which was just sort of I can get everything, is now no longer the thing, and now I gotta have 45 goddamn streaming services.
Yeah, that's what
And
depresses
I'm
me.
slowly going to become very picky and choosy. Like right
You're
now,
part of the problem.
well, I'm still really clinging to Hulu because Hulu is a great aggregate service.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, like truly, I have Funimation because I can't get the anime I watch anywhere else. I have HBO because they have those few shows that I want to watch that I can't get anywhere else. Also, I get that one free from AT&T, so it barely
Yeah,
counts.
yeah, same.
Like a lot of the services I have, Shudder, I have because I'm a big horror head, and a lot of these deep cuts horror movies that I look for, I can't get anywhere else. So Paramount Plus made for my wife, she was like, yeah, no, it's got this big library of stuff that I already watch. I'll rewatch all the medical dramas, all the crime dramas. She will watch the dick out of all that shit.
Yeah.
So for her, and because we can do the yearly, I really like the yearly stuff because they're like $50. It gets you a year of access. Bro, that's a day at a theme park. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
it, but I'm getting a year out of it. So for me, yeah, I got $50 at some paycheck that I can pay for a year on. I'm into it. I will say this one sucks for the no commercials. Hulu no commercials is like $5 add-on. No commercials on Paramount Plus, double it. It's $100 a year.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, super expensive for no.
Does it
commercials.
have the classic films though?
Not yet, but it's also not fully rolled over yet. CBS Plus still exists. It's not fully on Paramount Plus yet,
But
as of time of
so
recording.
like if I wanted to go watch Top Gun, would I be able to go watch Top Gun?
You know what? Let's look right now. Honestly, I have not looked at the movies because I found a trashy show that I like a whole lot that I fell into really hard.
Is it Ricky Lake?
No, Ink Master.
Oh,
It's-
right, yeah.
It's extra trashy because you and I have a tattoo artist friend who's like, guys, please do not accept this as tattooing. And I've even told him, like, look, it's a game show. I recognize this is a game show for tattooers. This is not representative of the life of a tattooer. That's not what this is.
Yeah.
Okay, so scrolling through the movies, it's an aggressive catalog. It's definitely not everything Paramount has ever done. But I mean, like, it's got Fist of Fury, it's got Frida, Dust Till Dawn. It's got some old Elvis movies in here right away. It's got, like, just doing an alphabetic scroll through, a lot of stand-up comedy, which I know a lot of streaming services are going for. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of stuff. Like, do you want me to, like, Top Gun? You're doing the same thing my brother does, which I judge him for. I never accept a streaming service as having the one thing I'm looking for. I look at streaming services as these things that'll have something that I'll watch on them. That's what I'm paying for.
Yeah, but for me, it's more of a. It doesn't have to have that one movie, but does it have that era of movies?
So yeah, this definitely has older stuff, but I'm looking for. Is Top Gun even a Paramount? Oh, actually, you know what? Yes, it is, and I should have known that. No, it actually doesn't look like it has Top Gun, but it does have Tommy Boy.
Yeah, that's the same.
It's like 10 years later, but you know, it's close enough. For me, what it really had going for it was they made a couple of really key announcements. So Nickelodeon finally has a platform that can focus on it a little bit more. And I know probably a lot of people are going, bro, do you sit around and watch Nickelodeon? I'm an animation guy, not necessarily Nickelodeon. And actually, if I'm being honest, probably for the last 8 to 10 years, Nickelodeon hasn't had anything worth watching other than the Avatar series. And Paramount Plus just gave Avatar their own imprint label. Avatar Studios is now a thing under Paramount Plus. So they're going to get, basically from what I've heard, they're going to treat it a lot like Star Wars is being treated on Disney Plus. They can make shows, they can make shorts, they can make movies. They get to make Avatar The Last Airbender content as much as they want. And the first project they announced, an Avatar The Last Airbender movie, completely animated, as much of the original cast as they can get in, happening.
Okay.
So for the sake of that content, those guys for me really proved that they had chops to tell more stories, not just with Korra, but with Dragon Prince, which I know I've talked about on here, and you know I'm a pretty big Dragon Prince fan.
Mm-hmm.
Now, while Dragon Prince, contractually speaking, will probably never be a part of Paramount Plus, they've proven to me that they can tackle other stories. Like, they're not one-hit wonders.
Yeah.
They're not just bound to Aang stories. Korra was really fun. Dragon Prince is really fun. I'm really interested in seeing what they can add to Aang's story, to Korra's story, and what Mandalorians they can bring to the bunch. What's another story in this world that I didn't know that I wanted that now I can't get enough of?
Yeah.
And those are the kind of guys who can land a hit like that. And especially with them being so anime focused in their style, think about anime shows and anime movies. They don't even necessarily need to link up perfectly. They sometimes just make a movie. I would love to see some shows and movies and shorts and like anything they can offer. I'll at least give it a shot.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. Honestly, my frustration is like Netflix was such a great idea.
Yep.
And it just feels like
everyone else is shitting on it.
Yeah, everyone else is like taking their ball and going home like little bitches is really what frustrates me.
So the other announcement in Paramount Plus, you're gonna judge me. I'm so excited.
Probably.
They're doing a sequel series to Frasier.
Oh no, I'm in.
Yeah, and like Frasier's in. He's been talking about it for a while, and I guess finally they were like, "Hey man, we're starting this new thing. Do you want to be like a big announcement?" And fucking green light, man. Frasier's gonna be. Also, Rugrats is getting a reboot.
Another one?
But like a reboot of the original. It looks like they're doing it again, but this time it's 3D animated, which I don't love, but I don't know, like all for nostalgic factor alone,
to be
I'll
fair,
try it.
I was never really into the original because it was on cable, so I didn't get to see it very much.
Remember, we stole cable.
I know. But like, if they were to do maybe like a Recess reboot, I'd watch the shit out of.
Well, that's gonna be Disney. Hold on, let me get. I want to see if I can find a better list of the Paramount, because they made a big list of announcements of all the new shows.
Yeah, because honestly, my biggest question
is SpongeBob. Like, again, I'm not a big SpongeBob fan, but they just started a prequel series to SpongeBob called Camp Coral.
Oh,
yeah. And again, like, I know that does have a. Ooh, excuse me. I am not a hardcore fan, but it does have a hardcore fan following. So they're plus the Star Trek stuff is going to roll onto that. They're really focusing on giving people. Weirdly, I feel like we kind of asked for this, being honest. So remember years ago when cable was your only option and we all went, damn it, I would rather just pay for a package that only gave me the channels I gave a shit about. Now you're getting that, but you're getting it as a package. And truthfully...
Well, not as a package. The problem is that if you got it as a package...
Well, you're getting it as a package of... Because it's not cable. It's not we play it when we play it.
Yeah, but it's very siloed.
Everything. Yes, it is. And eventually, I am going to have to finally make decisions on, like, what do I want? What do I not want? What am I not using? But for now, I'm kind of playing the game until I can suss things out a little bit better. I am glad that we're not seeing like Sci-Fi Channel, Discovery Channel. You're mostly getting parent company aggregates, and I can accept that because it's at least a smaller package pool.
Well, except for HBO, which is
but they've always kind of been doing been doing HBO. Fuck, I'm not finding a good site that's just. Oh, here we go. Everything we know about Paramount Plus. Let me see if I can. What does that get people? Where's the new shows? It does have MTV on it, which is like I don't think I'm ever gonna use it, but at the same time, I'm glad it's there.
I had forgotten about MTV. Like that's such a thing of the past. Even if,
Right? It's very dead. They do have all the Beavis and Butthead on there though, and I'm curious as to whether they can do the music video bits again because those are the best bits of
oh,
Beavis and
that's
Butthead.
true. Oh,
Man, I'm not finding a good list, but if you do some work, there are a few new series. There's some stuff based on movies that it's escaping me what movies, but they're even taking a couple of old movies and expanding them into series, which a lot of the times I do end up liking in the long run. It can work. Some stories just
give me an
lend
example of one that
themselves.
you enjoyed.
Scream. Funny enough, MTV is the one who put that out. The Scream show is actually good.
Really?
It's not fantastic. It's not mind blowing. It's not the voice of a generation. But if you're in for like a good old fashioned slasher movie expanded, Scream seasons 1 and 2 especially do a great job of adapting a slasher premise to it, and it's just as meta as the original. Because remember, the original was a slasher movie about being a love story to slasher movies.
Yeah.
This is 100% that in a show. And season 3 is not bad. I think the problem was after 2 seasons of the same cast, they tried to do the American Horror Story thing and pivot to a new story, new cast.
Oh.
So while it was still good, it was just kind of jarring for an
Yeah,
audience
because
who looks for
you've been
normalcy.
you've been attached to these people for 2
Right.
seasons, not just one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I know you have a problem watching scary stuff with your wife, which is why I never tax you with as much scary shit as I watch, because I watch a lot of horror. Maybe if you can line it up, your next workout show or your next while I'm working not paying attention show, try Scream.
Well,
You might actually really
I liked them.
good.
I didn't hate the first movie.
Yeah, the first and remember, the show is a reboot. It's different people in a different situation. It's not a continuation. Nev Campbell never shows up. It's them doing a TV take on the masked
Okay.
slasher trope, but it works.
So it's a reboot.
works.
It's a completely reboot.
Yes, but I will say upfront, I don't like the mask as much.
Oh, they changed it. Okay.
Yeah, and it's not terrible. It's just the original is very iconic, and I feel like this is very like, aren't we being modern? Whatever. It's not the
Oh.
worst thing, but
Well,
I would have just left it original.
the original was iconic because it was unique, but it was also
Yeah.
kind of forgettable, right?
Yeah,
Like
it was generic enough to be anything, but unique enough to be everything.
yeah, like oh, it's a ghost mask with a stretched face. Like oh, right?
Yep.
We're gonna
But it
get that guy right away. But yeah, no.
Yeah, no, and that one is it's on Netflix, so you can just try it without getting anything extra. I would like you to give the first few episodes a try. I really ended up liking it.
I just finished WandaVision.
Ooh.
So I am looking for another show to watch. But speaking of that, have you seen the end of that?
I have. We can totally WandaVision it up.
All right. So when did the last episode air? Because I'm always behind on this shit.
Well, as of time of recording, it was last Friday.
Okay. Well, I was just gonna ask for a date, but that's cool too.
I'm not doing math, bitch. This shit minus whatever fucking I don't know. God.
Okay. So just for anybody that's listening to this, spoilers, lots and lots of spoilers.
Yeah, if you're listening live, tons of spoilers. If you're listening on the podcast, like get your shit together.
Yeah, for reals. Okay. I'll start with the rating because then we can kind of go after that.
Okay, we'll hit ratings first. I can hit rating first.
This is a solid 4 out of 5. Infinity Stones.
I'm 100% with you on a 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
100%.
There were a lot of things that did well, but there were some missteps that just killed it a little bit. but I don't think it was enough to like, because it was almost like a concept project.
Well, and any show is going, like, no show is all up. There's no
Yeah.
show that was nothing but great. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And yeah, this was new because this was only ever going to be one season. It's meant to be build up for a movie based on some other movies. They were trying shit out.
Yeah, this totally felt like somebody was like, well, we've trusted this before. Let's try something new and see if it hits.
Yeah.
And
I think it worked.
Yeah, I think especially that aspect it worked. The vibe, though, I my biggest criticism is that it had a really good vibe going into it. This like mystery horror kind of vibe, right? Where what the fuck is going on? Like, and even as they started to do the reveals, it still was like kind of a mystery, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and I'll just get my biggest criticism out of the way because it's what lost the number is, unfortunately, it broke the barrier at the end where it was no longer like it got cartoony.
Well, here's what I will give it in defense of that point. If you notice, the show does some tricky things with the intros and the outros to the show. Watching the show, all of the intros follow their time period. And up to once you get into modern times, there's almost no intro, which is the fad. And then for the very last episode, it does the Marvel movie intro. So it kind of sets this expectation as working in the time period it's pretending to be, which I thought was very interesting. And then with the outros, they did not start adding post-credit scenes until they were the episode either before this one or two before that. I actually don't remember now, but they didn't introduce them
I think
until
it was just
around
the last two episodes,
which would be right around those 2000s and then modern. It was the time periods it was supposed to be in. So I feel like some things that could feel off were weirdly more deliberate than we would think it would to match with not just a theming, but with an actual structure that matches the time period it was aiming for. This shit is seriously like a film student's wet dream because it's almost a commentary on cinematography and storytelling through the ages.
Yeah, I buy that. And I honestly, like I said, I like it. I understand artistically what they were trying to do. I just felt like, except for the end, sorry, it hit,
Up until the end.
and it worked. Up until the end, they sacrificed story for the art.
But has that not been Marvel movies for the last, like, when they were trying to bring Phase 1 or whatever that last fucking phase was, you know what I mean, when as they were trying to bring the Thanos arc home, did it not become kind of paint by numbers action for the last couple there?
Are you talking about like Thor 2? Or sorry, like Iron Man 2?
I'm talking Infinity War and fucking whatever the last two Avengers ones.
Oh, you're
And
talking about
honestly, even Captain Marvel, which I like, and I'm not trying to take a punch at, but did they not do the same?
Okay, I didn't enjoy Marvel only because it was formulaic.
But I feel like it's close to WandaVision, where they were telling a movie in the 90s. And I make the same argument for the sake of the same argument for Wonder Woman 1984, 86, whatever the fuck that movie's
I
called.
think it's 84.
I don't love it as much in that, but honestly, a lot of people talked about how cheesy and campy the story was. But is that not a story from 1984? That's what it felt like to me. To me, honestly, it felt like they were going for a total throwback tonally to that point in time. And
Now,
I feel like with WandaVision, that last episode was supposed to encapsulate the state of of Marvel movies. Obviously truncated because it was only an
yeah.
hour long episode, but they gave you what you're showing up to a Marvel movie for right now is a spectacle piece.
I just felt that it ruined the illusion.
But you
That's
had to bring it into the movies. And honestly, if it wasn't filmed like that, it would feel more disjointed to a layman.
maybe, but the problem is that now it feels like it's just like you said earlier, advertising for a bigger thing. I really, with how they started, I had my hopes up that it would just be its own thing.
Well, they announced very early on that it was going to directly lead into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So I came into it knowing it had to have a hook.
Okay.
Which is why, honestly, I'd say my biggest problem was I expected a bigger punch. I really like a lot of people were talking about them using this as an excuse to bring in mutants, which would have worked, but for me wasn't quite graceful enough. I didn't love that, but I really thought there was going to be a something, or with like the casting of oh fuck me, I can never Peterson, the guy who played Quicksilver in the X-Men movies,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
not
yeah, I know who
the
you're
guy
talking
who
about.
played Pietro in the Avengers movies. And here's a spoiler for anybody who hasn't seen it. I'm very sorry. Turn it off now. But they do a big switcheroo where they change the casting. They bring the character portrayed in the X-Men universe into the Marvel universe. It's a terrible way of wording it, but it's the only way I got off the top of my head. They switch them. They switch the actors. Evan Peters, that's his fucking name. They switch
Nice.
him. They bring him in to play Quicksilver Pietro instead of Aaron Johnson. I was really thinking there was going to be a something, and there was, but it just wasn't. I mean, I guess you're big, and again, I'm gonna warn. This one's way bigger. Big spoiler. Tune out now for people on video. I'll wave my hands when you can come back. Now, your big punch is yes, that lead in the post credit scene to the Multiverse of Madness. She's literally creating multiverses in the microverse as they go. But the bigger thing is Vision's back. We have a functioning version of Vision with his memories somewhere, and the actor did also come out and confirm that Vision is back. So there's your big thing. Should I wave my hands, or do you want to comment on that first?
Uh, I thought it was interesting, and they took it in a different direction than I thought they would. I thought they were gonna
Sure.
have him kill himself,
Mm-hmm.
like
I buy that.
like a logical fucking trap. And homie's like,
Yeah.
all right, boom, here I am.
No, instead they just fix it and they have a great way to bring a really good character back.
Yeah. Although I will say I prefer the wacky colors.
I think he'll recolor. I think he'll
I
go
also
back to
don't
how it was.
understand how the Vision works now with that he doesn't have the Mind Stone. I just don't understand.
Yeah, yeah, we'll have to see. I guess at this point it's programming, not Mind Stone, but it also that helps justify your scaling power cap. So now we can bring
Yeah.
in a new villain, and why isn't he as good? Well, the Vision doesn't have the Mind Stone anymore, so power caps.
Yup. All right.
Okay, I'm gonna wave my hands. No more on that. Yeah, I don't know. I like the show. I think it was really fun, and I would like to see more things like. I don't want more WandaVision. I'm glad it ended. We don't need more. We told the story. We're all done. We don't need to do more. But what I would like to see is other filler stories. And actually, did you hear the good news? Marvel got a hold of the rights to Daredevil, Punisher, and Jessica Jones from Netflix. They
Ooh.
have it now. They can do those shows with those actors.
Oh, okay. So it isn't they can do new shows, it's they can just continue that shit.
They obtained the entire rights to those shows, at least as far as I've read. Maybe that's wrong, and I would love to be corrected if I am, but as far as I've read, that is the scenario.
I'd be in. I enjoyed. Well, I never saw the Punisher show.
Punisher was good. I didn't do season 2, but season 1 was a lot of fun.
Was it okay? Because my problem was he wasn't my favorite part of the Daredevil show.
No, but I really liked the actor playing the character.
Truth, he's a good actor. He's also been in a couple of other things that I watched. Okay, I'd watch some more of that for sure. I don't know if they'll. Well, yeah, she's with Disney. They can get Rosario Dawson as well.
Yep.
But yeah, so we haven't talked much about that. But what did you think of her portrayal of Ahsoka?
I literally off the top of my head never could come up with anybody better than her for that role. I really like her as an actress, and I happen to know she is very nerdy in real life, which is great because that means she's going to bring a passion to the role that, somebody who's not familiar isn't quite going to bring. Yeah, no, I think she nailed Ahsoka, and I'm really looking forward to the Ahsoka series.
Okay. Yeah.
Keeping it Marvel. You and I talked about this briefly, but it's coming up this month. I think it's the 28th of this month. Don't hold me to that date.
Or the 18th. I think I know what you're talking about.
Falcon Winter Soldier?
Yep.
Is it 18th?
I thought it was.
Maybe. They changed the date. They moved it closer.
Okay.
So you might be right.
March 19th. I was one day
okay,
off.
we were both very close.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm curious to see now that WandaVision has for sure added something to this running canon of Marvel. I'm really curious to see what Winter Soldier adds to the canon going forward.
Yeah.
And if maybe they don't have a nice big surprise with, WandaVision, they told us, hey, that's going to hook directly into Multiverse of Madness. But Falcon Winter Soldier, we haven't been told at all if it has a hook. And maybe that's very intentional.
That's true. You know what? I need to catch up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because I feel like they're starting
done now, so you can do the whole run.
Yeah, I feel like they led up to something and they led up to something and they keep dropping Easter eggs. I in WandaVision there were a couple times where I was like, I think that means something, but I don't understand what.
Yeah. I really tried with that show, but they would do like a great season, a terrible season, a great season, a terrible season, and it just became too much of a roller coaster. I couldn't anymore.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna try to get through it again. I'm fond of terrible shows. I'm actually partway through the first season of Miami, CSI Miami.
Oh God.
Yeah,
isn't that like the worst one?
No, not to me. I always thought New York was the worst one.
Oh, that was my wife's. No, that's the one with Gary Sinise, right?
Yep.
No, it wins just for Gary Sinise. I don't watch the shows. All I know about is Gary Sinise is in it, but that one wins.
As much as I like him as an actor, I don't know if I agree. But yeah, no.
That was one of my wife's favorite ones. She won't watch the Miami one.
To be fair, Miami was the first one I ever watched, so maybe it's just nostalgia.
Maybe.
Because I never actually saw the original. I really wasn't into the craze.
She wasn't a huge fan. She watched it, but she wasn't a huge fan of the original. I guess that one changed casts like a couple of times. Yeah, so it just got wonked.
Yeah. Some of the actors left, but it was also going on for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I didn't hate WandaVision, but that's the new thing we've watched. You've watched something recently that the reason I'm bringing it up is because
he was so hard. I mentioned it once in a non-related thing, and then he came at it. We were like, "What do you want to talk about for podcast?" And he was like, "This."
Yeah, because he has spent the last how long since you last saw it?
It's easily been 15 years.
He spent the last 15 years shitting on this fucking movie. So now that he has seen it with some time and a lot of distance, I wanted to get his take on it.
Yeah, so I finally rewatched Ghostbusters. No, not the reboot, not the anything crazy. I'm talking original OG Ghostbusters. I have not seen this movie in easily 15 years. So it's definitely been mentioned on the podcast before, but I have these few movies that my brother would watch and watch and watch and watch and watch. And like I'm not a big rewatch guy. I have a good memory for movies like this. I only need to see a movie once, maybe twice before I really have it down kind of beat by beat, especially if I
Yeah.
like it. So something like Ghostbusters that he would just play and play and play and play and play and play. I was burnt out. I wanted nothing to do with the Ghostbusters for a very long time. And then finally, that new one with Paul Rudd's coming out, and the reboot came out, and it was supposed to be terrible. And I was like, you know what? It's been enough time that I have not watched the Ghostbusters. Obviously, my tastes have changed. I have changed. Let's give it another go. So I rewatched the Ghostbusters. It's not my favorite movie of all time or anything all of a sudden, but yeah, it's very funny. There are some really iconic, classic, very, very funny scenes that I did out loud laugh at. Really appreciated the practical effects when they were practical effects, except at first I really loved the demon dogs, the Gozer and
Yeah.
Rick Moranis's fucking one. But I really appreciated those until I realized they're just reusing the same shot over and
Yeah.
over again. It only lays down. It got, I guess you had your budget, you worked with it, but all the other effects, the ghost effects especially,
Oh
are
yeah.
fantastic. Really, really good practical effects. I'll say Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd bring it.
Oh yeah, easily. But to be fair, also, what's his name?
Harold Ramis
Ramis.
or
I think he brings it too.
I walked away from this time going, I actually don't know why anybody got super into Egon.
Huh.
He's just playing deadpan. Like, he's not doing bad. I'm not taking away. He's not doing poorly, but I don't think he brought anything overly special to that role.
I always felt that Aykroyd was that way, where Aykroyd was just Aykroyd. Not that he was bad, never bad. I loved the performance, but I always felt that it was just like,
well, it might be Aykroyd doing Aykroyd, but even Aykroyd doing Aykroyd is at least a character, where what Harold Ramis brought was just like, I'm stuffy.
but
Okay.
but it wasn't just that he was stuffy. He was also weird, and he pulled off weird well.
I guess. To me, it didn't. To me, it just read as stuffy.
I honestly, I won't say that he's the best one, but I will say that some of his lines, and especially when he interacts with Rick Moranis, like, they have some fucking amazing lines.
That was the best scene for actually both of those actors. Though, mad credit to Rick Moranis for the rambling fucking monologues he has to deliver multiple times.
Yeah.
Multiple times he is just going. And the best one is the him and Harold Ramis scene,
Yeah.
where he's not even rambling about, like, because before it's all accounting stuff. Oh, I'm getting these people over, and this is why I'm getting them over, and this is how I'm getting them over, and this is why I'm really, like,
It was
long.
a lot of yes and.
But when it's the scene with Harold Ramis, he's literally talking nonsense. And they never go into it more. They never explain it. It's all this weird, cryptic, like most of these aren't even words, and he was just rattling them off like he was talking about the New York Times.
Dude.
He nails it. He nails it.
That and the coffee line. Like,
Yes, have some.
oh my god.
I really want to believe that was off the cuff, but there's no way that was off the cuff. And then, the last one you have to give credit for, and I will say, this is one of those things where, again, my brother watched them so much, they're the same movie in my mind. I couldn't separate 1 and 2 in my brain. I would have put money down. I would have lost money on this bet. I did not think Ernie Hudson joined the cast until the second movie.
Oh, yeah, no.
I didn't realize that he was in the first, and how jilted. He comes in halfway through the movie, delivers some Like, actually, I will say he has some of the best lines in the movie.
Yeah, he does.
The comebacks, he hits it. But as far as like the character and his progression to the movie, he's just kind of added to give somebody needs an outside view very quickly. That's all I've provided. He's a little jilted in the first movie, and again, like to the point where I would have put money down that he wasn't even in it until the second.
You know what I think? Honestly, he was, and they put him in way too late, but he was the anchor for the audience.
Mm-hmm.
But he was put in a little bit too late. They got wacky first, but
he doesn't come in until about halfway.
Yeah, well,
halfway.
It's also like he's the everyman, right? He's
the guy coming into the situation.
Yeah,
but I if this movie was made today, we would have seen him before we saw Venkman.
Yeah, but that's because Venkman is everything that is no longer acceptable.
And he's your selling point for this at the time.
Yeah,
at the time, your trailer reel is 90% Venkman. It is.
I just gotta say, some of his lines, while hilarious, don't hold up.
No, they do not.
Homie is creepy as a mofo.
Yeah, absolutely. But, I mean, I don't know. I think today the character just reads different. Where this, he's cocky and smooth, and we go, this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we look at this guy and we go, oh, this motherfucker? You know what I mean? Like, he's still a character, but he has a different tone applied to him.
For sure. I will say that this is one of those movies that you can't remake. Like,
no, you can only build off of. And hey, I'm gonna do one of these.
Yeah, for sure. And it's lightning in a bottle, because when it came in, it just had the right tone. It had the right folks involved. Honestly, the first Ghostbusters is also one of the first movies that I watched, in English. Most of the time I was always watching movies in Spanish when I was a kid, but and I've told this story here before, but Ghostbusters was my first introduction into Hollywood that wasn't translated. Before, it was a whole lot of the really terrible dubbing that they do on a lot of those movies, where you'll have someone that is very clearly not gonna have a breathy voice, and they're always like, oh, sí, cariño, which I always think is hilarious. Those dubs, and it's always like the same 4 people have dubbed all of the movies that are made in English to Spanish, and everywhere I've gone, like whether it's Mexico or a couple of other the Spanish speaking countries in South America, it always sounds like it's the same voices doing the dubs. It's kind of terrible. So Ghostbusters was the first movie that I saw that was actually in English. Do
you think it is the same guys though? Like, have you ever looked it up? Is it the same 10 folks who do all the dubbing?
I don't know, but I suspect
it might be.
Yeah, it very well could be.
It is probably a very small. It's probably less than 20 people who do it.
Yeah, it's also kind of interesting being bilingual and watching it and how terrible the dubbing is, right? Like, yeah. And then also add subtitles to it. It's even worse because sometimes they don't match up.
Oh, dude! Even today with anime, that's still a thing. It's not gonna. You put it on subs and dubs, and it's not gonna match.
That is fucking terrible. But
I watch a lot of TV with subtitles on. Just, because we have watched stuff and
I'm deaf
we're old.
As fuck.
We're going deaf, fucking metal shows since I was 10. It's gonna happen. But yeah, we can't watch anime with subtitles on because it does not match the dub.
Yeah, it is insane. So what I'll do is I'll either watch just subtitled anime or dubbed.
Yeah. It's one or the other. But
none of this in between bullshit. That's the problem with anime, though. The reason I don't watch much of it anymore is because it's something I have to pay attention to.
I pretty much exclusively watch dubbed.
Yeah,
I can't do. It's why I haven't finished Naruto.
Oh, because
it's out. It's out in dubbed, but they trim episodes between the English and the Japanese.
Oh,
and it's not even episode perfect. There is stuff that bleeds into the middle of other episodes as they edit down. So finding my spot, I'm like, I can't.
You're gonna have to start
Plus,
over.
the American voice actors suck. That's one of the ones where I agree. Except for the I hate Japanese demon voices.
Okay.
Have you heard this is actually a regional thing? So demon voices in America, dark and raspy and evil. Japanese, anybody who's watched a little bit of anime knows, but big and bold and demons. Where South Africa, it might not even be South, it might even be all of Africa, but Africa, generally speaking, childlike, small and tiny and creepy. Their demons are childlike. This is actually a regional thing,
That's kind of fascinating.
right?
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm glad that Africa gets that kids are creepy because I think kids are creepy.
I mean, for real, it's just generally
It's
speaking.
like a little human that doesn't know how to be a human. What's not creepy about that?
Not even that. Have you seen the subreddits? There's like the Ask subreddits and all that, but what's the creepiest shit your 4-year-old has said?
Oh,
like,
I haven't seen that, but I
those
bet
are
it's horrifying.
Yeah, some of them are horrifying. And like at one point, one guy goes, "Well, I think it was my son looked at me and he goes, the dark man in my room doesn't approve of you," and then he goes right back to doing what he was doing. I'm like, homie's possessed. Like you got to do something.
You fix that shit with fire. Just burn it all down and get out. Get out. I seen that movie. He killed the priest and everything.
But yeah, so check out those kinds of threads. Kids are fucking creepy as fuck.
Do you ever see the original The Omen?
A long time ago. I went on a spree where I watched like The Exorcist, all of them that were out at the time, and The Omens and all that.
Do you remember the ending to The Omen?
Oh fuck no, dude! It's been years.
Oh, the ending to the original Omen is actually brutal. So the dude figures out that the kid is evil. He's the Antichrist. He needs to be killed. So he goes and he's about to plunge the dagger into the kid's heart, and the cops burst in. And they see this dude trying to murder a child, and they fucking shoot him and blow him away, and he's dead. And the kid fucking lives and goes on to be the Antichrist.
Wow. So it's basically the end of the world.
The worst part is like, yep, that's exactly what would happen. 100%. That is exactly what would happen.
Yeah, like if you buy into the mythology, yeah. Puny human don't win.
Well, and even beyond the mythology, just society today. Anybody sees a knife in a kid, homeboy holding the knife gets killed. Doesn't matter if the kid's a fucking monster.
Yeah, that's true.
You're getting blown away. Because people don't stop and wait for information.
No, not at all.
All the way. It's great. It's great, it's great, it's great, it's great, it's great.
You know which movie I'm going to rewatch to see if it's as terrible as I remember is End of Days?
What is Is that Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I don't think I ever actually saw all of this.
It is cheesy as fuck, I would move. Also, Devil's Advocate. I haven't seen that in years.
Yeah, it's been years since I've seen Devil's Advocate.
But like I feel like that was one of the movies where Keanu brings it.
Okay. I'll take that challenge and rewatch it.
Because it's him and Al Pacino fucking chewing the scenery.
Which, like, how do you go wrong?
Yeah. Like, it was really well done. Now that somehow we got on the subject of, I would call that kind of classic horror, too, Devil's Advocate. I think it's up there.
Horror, thriller, yeah, it's in that ballpark.
I feel like it has the devil in it. It's horror. Just gonna put that out there.
If it has the devil.
El Diablo. And that's twice that I've spoken Spanish on this podcast. See, we are bilingual.
Haha! Do you want to play us out in Spanish?
I totally could.
I think you should.
Ok, entonces aquí estamos el lunes de 7 a 8 Pacífico en YouTube in 5D Podcast. Luego, cada otro jueves tenemos Bias Bros con Devin y su hermano. Están hablando de películas. Bueno, no nomás de películas, también dan listas. Los martes tenemos el stream en Twitch, que es twitch.tv / Metagame Network. Y ¿cuáles son tus pensamientos finales, Devin?
I gotta mad credit to you. You'd be a great Spanish teacher because you don't have a super thick there's a lot of guys, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. There's a lot of motherfuckers who sound like you and me when they talk, but the minute they get into Spanish, it's suddenly super mixing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they lean into their accent hard when they start going. Yours is very intelligible and understandable, and I think you would make an absolutely fantastic Spanish teacher, like legitimately, and not like teacher classroom setting. Like if you just had a buddy who was trying to learn or something,
yeah,
you do really well at that because you are very clear and very approachable in your Spanish.
Which is kind of funny because my brother says that I speak Spanish like a white guy.
No, but I mean, you kind of walk that I've never heard your brother speak Spanish.
Oh, he doesn't usually speak Spanish outside of the house, I think, nowadays.
The closest I got was watching some very strange Hispanic show on your couch about like adults but in school, and your brother trying to explain beat by beat what is going on in this show for me. And I'm just like, this is something about rubber ducks, bro. That's as far as I made it. That was the most fascinating shit I've ever seen in my life. And that's the closest, because he'd be like, oh, how do I explain this? Because you know me, I speak enough Spanish to fucking get the loose gist of what's going on. But like hard detail, fucking gone. I had nothing. So as he's like, oh, what's the closest word to this? Hearing your brother like repeat something, that's the closest I've ever gotten to hearing your brother speak Spanish. So I don't think he can talk shit. Your brother, you talk Spanish like a white guy? Well, you barely speak Spanish, so shut the fuck up, bitch.
I know. I know. It's just funny because since I do voices, like both of us do voices and all that,
right.
Like I can speak Spanish a lot more. Like, you know,
you can go full soccer announcer.
I could totally go. I could actually do it longer, but we got to end the podcast. All right. Anyways, on that note. Bye.
Bye.